Hi everyone, I'm Sonia. Thank you so much for my subscribers for staying by my side even though I was away for a long time. The past year has been pretty busy and tough for me because of schoolwork and my transition into college from high school. But today, I've brought something really cool that I wanted to share with you guys, which is my first flight lesson. I will talk about how I came to be interested in getting a private pilot license, what steps I took to get started with this journey, and my plans for the future. Hopefully this video can be helpful for those of you who are thinking of getting a private pilot license or spark a new interest in those of you who have not thought about it. And please understand that I don't have my license yet, so this video is more of me sharing my experience with you guys rather than teaching you to step by step. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'll start by talking about how I became interested in getting a private pilot license. Actually, I always had this thought back in my head that once I turn 17 years old and go to college, I'm going to learn how to fly. Although you can take flight instructions at any age, the minimum age to solo is 16 and the minimum age to get a license is 17. I actually have very special reasons for wanting to get a private pilot license. First of all, my favorite author is Saint-Exupéry, whom most of you may know as the author of the book Little Prince. He was also a pilot, and you will notice that a lot of his books are actually about flying and features pilots as main characters, even in The Little Prince. And reading his books, I was captivated by the beautiful and poetic use of language in describing the flight experience. And I believe that the best way to better understand what the author was trying to express is by learning how to fly and experiencing it by myself. And besides, flying high above the ground and looking down at the scenery reminds me the beauty of our planet and the people living in it. How diverse we are, yet so unified. And now imagine looking down from outer space. How amazing will that be? And moreover, I am just very excited about the idea of aircrafts and spacecrafts, how they work, which is also the reason why I am majoring in aerospace engineering. So now I will briefly explain about how I got started and how you can also get started with this journey to become a private pilot. The first thing I did was I searched for flight schools in my area and chose one that best fits my needs in terms of location and cost. And then you can contact an instructor at the flight school and take a tour and take a first flight lesson, which is what I did last week. But because I wanted to expedite the process, I first went ahead and applied for my student pilot certificate, which is submitting an application at the official IACRA website, which stands for Integrated Airman Certification and Rating Application. Then I scheduled an FAA medical exam with a local AME, which is short for Aviation Medical Examiner. Basically, there are 3 different classes to the medical exam. Generally, first class is designed for the airline transport pilot, second class for the commercial pilot, and third class for the student, recreational, and private pilot. So obviously I was thinking to get tested for the third class exam, but my AME actually suggested me to take the first class instead in case I want to consider becoming a pilot as my future career. Then I went ahead and applied for clearance from TSA, which is short for Transportation Security Administration, because non-US citizens must apply for clearance from the TSA before starting any flight trainings. The TSA process takes about 3 weeks and costs about $130, but besides that, you will also need your passport and visa. I will link down below of all the important websites you will need for your reference. The airplane I had my first flight lesson on was the 1973 Cessna 172M, which as you can see is such a gorgeous and vibrant red color. The Cessna 152 and 172 are probably the most well-known flight training aircraft around the world. Cessna 152 is a smaller aircraft with 2 seats, and the Cessna 172 is 4-seat. Single-engine piston aircraft with a high fixed wing made by the Cessna Aircraft Company. So what makes Cessna aircraft so popular is because it is easy to fly, easy to maintain as the cost of operation is relatively low, and it has 2 doors, which means you don't have to climb over the wing. The high wings are innately more stable because their center of mass is lower than their center of lift, as opposed to Piper aircraft which only has 1 door with low wings. So my flight instructor started with explaining some of the basics of airplanes. He went over the checklist with me, and the checklist looks something like this. It lists all the steps you need to check for before and after takeoff. So some of the important things that we checked for included the throttle, also referred to as a thrust lever or the power lever, which the pilot controls the amount of fuel provided to the engine. He also drains some fuel to check that there is no pollutants mixed with it, and the list goes on and on. After we checked that everything was good, we hopped onto the cockpit and adjusted our seatbelts and put on our headphones. We taxied until we reached the runway, in which I had to make sure that I was staying on the middle line. Then I pushed the throttle all the way in and kept my hand on the throttle during takeoff to make sure that I remain full throttle and allow me to quickly pull power if I need to abort. And the flying took about 30 minutes and we landed back on the runway. So what am I on to now? Well, obviously I need to do more flight trainings, pass my FAA knowledge test and flight test in order to earn my license. I need to spend a minimum of 40 hours in the air, but most students spend 50 to 70 hours before obtaining their certificate. During these hours, I will train with my instructor, progress to nearby solo flights, onto flight planning and night flying. Toward the end of my training, I will take several solo long-distance flights. So what I am planning to do with my YouTube channel from now on is that I will continue to upload videos about science and math, but on top of that, I will also make videos about spacecrafts, aircrafts, and my flight trainings, and also other fun stuff. So if you're interested, please subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for my future videos. Thank you so much for watching.